Hello students, this is Benazir Fatima, Assistant Professor, School of Legal Studies, BBD University. My lecture on today's topic is regarding elasticity of demand and its types. The index contains the definition of elasticity of demand, the types of elasticity of demand, that is price, income, and cross elasticity of demand. First we see what is elasticity of demand. Now if we just take out the term elasticity out of this term, elasticity means something which is flexible, which can be changed, which is not constant, which is not fixed. So if we talk about elasticity of demand, we see that whatever things that makes demand flexible, that makes demand change, that affects the demand. It can be price, it can be income, it can be substitute goods price, it can be change in taste and preferences, etc. There are a lot of reasons by which demand can be affected and changed, and that is studied under elasticity of demand. So if we just simply see the definition of elasticity of demand, it says elasticity of demand is the degree of responsiveness of quantity demanded to change in price. That means whatever responses are getting changed in terms of quantity which is demanded with respect to the change in price. Whatever changes are happening in the price, whatever changes are happening in the various other factors, how that is affecting the response on demand of that particular commodity, that is studied under elasticity of demand. That means be it any factor like change in price, change in preferences, change in taste, change in future expectations, change in income, or whatever reasons, through whatever reasons, the response of the demand of any commodity is getting affected, it is getting changed, and that is studied under elasticity of demand. Now it is a formula, there is a formula for this, and it can be measured by using the the following formula, and it says elasticity of demand is equals to proportionate change in quantity demanded upon proportionate change in price. Now the word proportion comes here by dividing the new quantity by subtracting the new quantity from the previous quantity and dividing it, and whatever we get, we divide it with the new price from old price and dividing it by the old price, and that whatever value comes out, that is the elasticity of demand. So the proportionate change, that means the difference between the new and the old one, that is the proportionate change that is happening in quantity demanded, which is divided by the proportionate change in price. Price, again taking the previous and the new price, that is a proportionate change in the price, and if we divide that, we get elasticity of demand. Now we move on to the three categories of price elasticity of demand, and the first one is price elasticity. So price elasticity means whatever changes are happening in the price, that is affecting the quantity demanded of any commodity. Now this is what we have studied in law of demand also earlier, that when the price changes, it changes the demand. The price rise, the quantity demanded falls. The price falls, the quantity demanded rises. So the price elasticity of demand is sensitivity of quantity demanded to the change in price. Whatever quantity demanded is being changed, it is being sensitive, it is being proportionate, it is being disturbing or changing or making it flexible, that is happening due to change in price, and that is price elasticity of demand. That means price is bringing a sort of change in demand. Price is making demand elastic. The change in price is affecting the quantity demanded of any commodity. Now if we talk about the formula, price elasticity of demand can be studied by using the formula proportionate change in quantity demanded upon proportionate change in price. You can see the formula under it. Here we get to see that whatever change is happening from old to new, that is divided by the change in price, which is the difference between the old and new, and once they get divided, they tend to give us the value of price elasticity of demand. The next we have income elasticity of demand. Now just like price affects the quantity demanded, in the same way income also affects quantity demanded. Income elasticity of demand is the measure of responsiveness of quantity demanded to a change in income of a consumer. That means whatever changes are happening in the income of the consumer, that is affecting the demand of a consumer. We all know that whenever our income rises, we tend to consume more, we tend to buy more products that we have not been using or buying till now because of low budget. But once our income rises, we tend to make more amount of consumption because we want to fulfill our requirements which we would have curbed since time. So income elasticity of demand affects the demand in such a way that the proportionate change in quantity demanded upon proportionate change in income of the consumer. And this means that by this formula we can see that there is a change in the quantity demanded which is being brought about by a proportionate change in the income of the consumer. That means if my income is increasing from 20 to 40,000, definitely I'll increase my consumption level. Now, because I wanted to buy certain things, but I couldn't because of my low salary. But now if my salary increases from 20 to 40, for example, then definitely I'll increase my consumption. And consumption increment means increasing the consumption means I am demanding more and more amount of commodity. My demand is getting changed. My demand is getting affected. My demand is increasing. Hence, I want to purchase new things and more things with the increase in my income. So therefore, income elasticity of demand is the measure of responsiveness of quantity demanded to a change in the income of consumer. That means the income of the consumer is changing and it is affecting the quantity demanded by that person. In the next slide, we see cross elasticity of demand. As the word cross is written here, it simply signifies that means that there is two commodities. One may be taken as X, the other may be taken as Y. Now, we have already studied about substitute goods, that the price change in one of the commodity affects the demand of the other commodity. Like the price of, like we very normally we take an example of tea and coffee. So uh, if the price of the tea rises, the demand for the coffee will rise because now the tea will become less convenient to buy, and coffee will be more dearer one to buy. That becomes a bit cheaper in front of tea, right? So for the time being, people might shift their consumption from purchasing tea to purchasing a coffee because coffee has now become affordable, and tea for the time being maybe, but the tea is now becoming less affordable. So people switch from tea to coffee. That means proportionate change in quantity demanded of X. That means we can take example of coffee here as X. So proportionate change in quantity demanded of say X or coffee upon proportionate change in the price of Y or tea. That means with the price change of tea, there is a proportionate change in the quantity demanded of coffee, that is X. So here we see that when the price of one commodity changes and due to this the quantity demanded of another commodity changes, the measurement of this change is called cross elasticity of demand. Right. So we have studied here that one change in price of one commodity affects the quantity demanded of another commodity. So just quickly summing up the three types of elasticity. First of all, we've studied what is elasticity of demand. It is the degree of responsiveness to a quantity demanded upon to a change in price. Right. So it we have studied three types of elasticity, that is price elasticity. That means when the change in the when there's a change in the demand of one commodity, that is being affected by change in price. Under income elasticity, we have studied that when there is a change in the income of the person, there is a proportionate change in the quantity demanded by that person. And lastly, we have studied cross elasticity of demand, which says that with the increase in the price or decrease of whatever type of change, whether increase or decrease in the price of one commodity, the demand for the other substitute or the other commodity will definitely be affected. It may be increased or it may be decreased. So that's all from my side. Thank you.